just wanna be okay. How can I pick up the pieces when everything breaks with every day? I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me. Everything's changing, just trying to navigate. Oh, I keep on believing I'm gonna find my way with every day. I'm getting older, I feel the weight upon my shoulders. I'm strong enough, I'll rise above. It's all gonna be okay. If I can be anything, I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me. Nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna be me. I think I'm gonna be me, me, me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me. I know I gotta be me, me, me. There's nowhere else I wanna go, no one else I'd rather be. I think I'm gonna be me.
Hello, everybody. What up, Wednesday? I'm Keely down FHumpires, and you are my favorite people in the world because you are the third team and you're here. I am always shocked and amazed and delighted that anybody shows up to join in on a conversation about umpiring. So here we go. I'm so glad we're here. Before I get started, of course, Godders is here. It's very good to see you, but I don't believe I've ever said hello to this fine individual, Rodrigo Miranda. There's a DJ air horn for you. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? I hope you're well and delighted you're here. Let's see, Mabano's here as well. Nice to have you. Raju, I wanted to ask you something. Put it in the comments so that I can, and I hope you don't mind me asking where you live because I am going to talk about location, geographic things in a little bit. So go ahead and let me know. Kofi, hello. I believe that wasn't an air horn. Try that again. There you go. You deserve that. Good to have you. Nice to see you. And Mike is here as well. Okay, here's our topics today. This is a different show. I mean, it's not really different because it's clips and it's discussion and 45 minutes on one topic, but all the topics are from social media suggestions that I received through the interwebs, through DMs and emails and comments and such. So, except for one, I cheated. I pulled it out myself because I saw it. And so I DM'd myself. Let's put it that way. But here we go. This is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this PC race shot. We're going to talk about these aerial goals. There's two of them. This PC defense. You're wondering, what is this? This GK tackle. I don't know what else to call these things now. This goal off the umpire. And yeah, that's going to be it. So probably. Yes, the whistle necklace is back. Thank you, my fulfillment manager, Simon Milford, here in the comments. Managed to send me a replacement. I broke my chain. I have approximately 3 necklaces and I wear one of them, and it's my whistle necklace. So when I broke that, I was like, oh, that's bad. When you're a minimalist and you lose one of your favorite things there. Stains here, good to have you. And Scott, always back on time. I think you're being sarcastic because I was not on time. I was late because I was having audio issues. But luckily, nobody's complained. I think I got it all sorted out. So, congratulations. Go. Okay, we're going to talk about this in a second. Excellent. Oh, I mean, just super warm welcome. Please tell me, if you don't mind, where you're from as well, because I like to know if I'm able to reach out around the world a little bit, because obviously I'm in a place where there isn't a lot of hockey. I'm in Canada, in Calgary, Canada right now, and it's just it's just nice to know that we are a worldwide global phenomenon actually is the correct word. We are a phenomenon because we are singular as a group. As okay. Um yes, girl, they are in the shop. Oh my god, go get one. What? How could you even ask me that? Of course it's in the shop. There you go. Rob, thank you. Cheers. Where's my mate? For Rodrigo as well. Mate, if you are taking mate right now, I join you. It's kind of sad that I drink or I take my mate all on my own, but I just use this little thermos and then I just pour for myself and drink my mate alone. I was going to be focused. I really was. Alexander, nice to see you. Are you new? I think you're new. Also, I just like pressing buttons because they're obnoxious. And you live in Bahia Blanca. 750. No, I'm going to get it wrong. Ciento. No, I'm going to get it wrong. 700 kilometers from Buenos Aires. Look, girl's got to do the right thing for her health and her caffeine levels, right? Mm. Ah, because you've been on the replay, Scott. And Allie, did I know you were Scottish? I don't think I knew that. I'm a terrible human. I love knowing this. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get into our stuff. This one might take us a little while because it always takes me a while to warm up. But here we go. This PC raised shot because, boy, has there been a lot of conversation about this on the
Kan
interwebs.
uiteindelijk weer verder spelen. Dan even later weer een corner. Het wordt een variant op Tessa Klaasener, de aangeefster. En die flatst hem erin. Mag van de
so this is
scheidsrechter.
Hoofdklasse
Eigenlijk moet het eerste schot
from
op
last
doel
weekend.
op de plank
There
zijn.
is
Maar
a poll now
dit is
up
het soort kruising tussen een flats en een
in the
push.
chat. Feel free to go in and give me your preliminary decision. Remember, this isn't a test. You're not going to fail, even if you get the wrong answer. Just kidding. Even if you make a different decision, what I want to do is exercise your ability to make your first call in the moment and then go through and listen to the reasoning. It's very important for us as umpires to remain neuroplastic. So sometimes we will make a decision and then we hear evidence or we see evidence and we hear arguments to the contrary. We actually, it's a psychological self-defense mechanism. We get a little more entrenched into the decision that we made because we want to protect ourselves from that ego blow of, oh, being wrong. But guess what? Being wrong is not the worst thing in the world. Not changing your mind when you should change your mind, that's the worst thing in the world. I might be talking about that later. There may be a rant of the week coming on in that. Foreshadowing. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah. So, I would like to hear what your preliminary thoughts are when you watch this particular play. I'm going to make a confession right now that I made a preliminary decision and then I started seeing some good arguments to the contrary. And then I went back to my original decision. And then I went back and I went back and I have flipped the F and flop out of this call. And that's one of the dangers, right? As we watch this over and over again, is that we just start second guessing and second guessing. So again, your vote in the poll is just a way for you to exercise that immediate in the moment. That's what I'm going to make. I'm going to make my call on this. So there you go. Kofi, you're from Ghana and also an FH umpire. Well, oh my gosh, get your butt into the server, please, because I support FIH umpires by giving them access to all the things. Okay. I know what it's like to want to further your international career and how much money it takes to fund yourself to do things. So please let me support you. Come into the Discord server. Do I have a thing for it? I do. I will do it right now. Discord. There it is, Kofi. Come on in and say hi. Thank you, Mr. Melford, for your amazing link. That works. So Wayne, it looks like a hit on goal. Allie says it looks like a slap, not a flick, so too high. So this is where I want to start digging in a little further, because you know me, I love myself a good principle. I don't just like to say, oh, looks bad. That's a bad tackle. We're going to call that. No, we look at principles. We look at why things are called the way they are, why the rule is in place. And we do that not because, well, it entertains me, but the reason we do it is because we want to develop a set of knowledge that serves us in the future, so that when we go into our next game and we have this decision, but the facts are slightly different, are we still able to go back to the same principles that stay true all the time? And that helps us make an accurate call in that moment. It may not be the same call. You may call a free hit defense here, and you may call a goal in the next one. That isn't being inconsistent. That is about being consistent to principles if you have applied them correctly. So good to see you. Thank you very much. First shot, and okay, first shot too high, so we're gonna work on this a little bit. No worries, Simon and Boo. I will be talking about Boo later. And Alistair, the commentator said the first shot on goal was a combination between a slap and a push. Yeah, that's not a thing. Hi, commentator, you really like trying to muddy the waters. That's like being pregnant and not pregnant. It's got to be one or the other. And you can say it's really, really close and hard to tell the difference between the two, but it's one or the other. But there you go. Goddard's is on for that. It's a 2. Okay, Kofi, a short grip hit and it went high, so it's no goal. Okay, I think that's an interesting observation. And so you're pulling out something that, you know, you would say is a signpost, a principle you would apply. But the short grip is not necessarily anything determinative. You can push a ball with 2 hands at the top of the stick, and you can hit a ball with your hands separated on the stick. So to me, there's nothing that merits, because I don't know if this is a popular stroke in areas, some other areas in the world, but you know, here and in many places I've seen the it's a very ice hockey looking slap shot motion, and every time it happens in an international game, you'll hear Simon Mason saying that's a Wayne Gretzky slap shot, which is very funny to me because there's more people that play ice hockey than Wayne Gretzky. But anyway, and that is very much 2 hands separated. I believe a short grip is when you actually have your left hand is lower down the stick, and so your stick is shortened. I thought that's what a short grip is, but again, that's why using terms that don't necessarily have bearing on the actual rule may not serve you in making an accurate decision. Marcus, you can see the backswing. Okay, now we're starting to get into it. Good, good. Keep that going. It's the second shot, but first shot at goal. Okay, this is important, Stain, because in order for us to get the principles right, we want to make sure we understand if there had been a previous shot at goal, it doesn't matter what height this is at. So let's not use the term second shot if you don't mean that it's a shot at goal, because it's not. So we've talked about this in the server a little bit. When you go and you review the situation, there is a derivation of the ball's path from the top of the castle towards the injector. And some people said, oh, well, that's a deflection, you know, or that there's been contact there. So it was actually the first shot at goal was from the top. And I absolutely disagree with that, because it's quite clear that when you watch this on the replay, that this is very much intended to be a pass. and it is not directed at goal. It doesn't have to hit the goal in order for it to be a shot at goal. We know that from the definitions in the rule book, but it has to be, the attacker has to intend to be trying to direct it at goal. And this is a very, you can tell from the body language of all the players, where they're facing, where the pass goes, how far off target that is. That's a pass. So it's not a shot at goal. So the first shot at goal is from the injector. Just making sure that we're still clear on that one. Okay. You feel the balls come off the stick as a recoil and not traveled on the stick as a push. Free hit. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter because, well, it's an interesting point because if the ball had stayed on the stick, it would absolutely be a push. If there had been no space between the ball and the ball and the stick all through this motion, it couldn't possibly be anything but a push because we know what a push is. So we'll have a look at that. Rachel's gonna have a whistle pendant. Okay, Godders, let's go. Striking or slapping the ball using a swinging movement towards the ball. Slap hitting the ball, which involves a long pushing or sweeping motion with the stick, is regarded as a hit. Okay, excellent. We're getting closer, so I want to come look at this. Okay, these are... Let me just see which way. Okay, that's indoor, and that's outdoor. Okay, so we touched on this in the server because there has been a discussion going on in the server about this one, and if you aren't in the server, then you should be there so that you can be a part of this and help warm me up and confuse the issue for me. No, and help me formulate the best thinking and the best way to explain these things, because that's very important to me. Your input makes that happen. And how did this get all messed up? Okay, right. So I said, let's look at how we apply the rules of hitting an indoor, because it could be informative. Why do we not permit hitting an indoor? Because it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous in indoor? Well, because we have a number of players in a small space and they are low to the ground because there's no raising of the ball. And therefore, because they're low to the ground, follow-throughs of swings can be quite dangerous in going towards the faces, because from the shorter distances and all those sort of things, you have more risk of actually making contact with the follow-through, and being closer means that or being in a more compressed space means that the faster speed of the ball is going to be, magnify the danger and that sort of thing. Okay, so those are the things that go into why a hit is dangerous in indoor. The definition is what you just saw Goddard's put on the screen, is very much the same. Striking or slap hitting the ball using a swinging movement of the stick towards the ball. Slap hitting the ball, which involves a long sweeping movement stick. It's like, somebody put this in the server to make a note to get this fixed. To try to put on my list of rule change suggestions. So there you go. So it's not super clear. Whenever a definition of a word contains the word that you're trying to define, you clearly have some circular logic going on. So slap hitting the ball. They could have just said slapping the ball, which involves a long pushing or sweeping movement. And then they go long push. Like, it's not a push, because a push is a defined term, which is not what a hit is. It's just so badly worded, you guys. Oof. Anyway. And that said, the indoor rule is no different from the outdoor rule. Other than the fact that it just says, by the way, in indoor, it's not permitted. But it's the same striking or slapping the ball. Actually, it's better. No, it's the same. Using the swinging movement of the ball. I need better glasses already. It's virtually the same definition. Okay. And so under, say, legal interpretation principles, we would call this informative. Not a direct application, but we would say it's informative, that the same word is defined in the same way in two different formats of the game. The motivations behind why it's defined in that manner and why it is outlawed might be slightly different. So why is a hit not permitted as the first shot at goal in outdoor? Because we draw this arbitrary line to say it is too dangerous for defenders who haven't had the opportunity to get themselves into a position where they can defend against a rising hit shot, because it takes less time for a ball to be hit than it does to be, say, drag flicked or whatever. And that raised hit from the top, if it's the first shot, is going to be coming at a screaming height through a lot of players, all that kind of thing. Okay. So it's a discrete situation in outdoor, and it doesn't have quite the same aspects to it. And honestly, keeping that sort of guiding principle in mind is the reason why I go back and forth on this one. But let's show you this. Oh, Goddard's is going to get into science. Yes, that's what I like. Bringing the stick back away from the ball, says Scott Riley, before swinging it to make contact with the ball suggests a hit to you, not a push or a scoop. So it's that little backswing. I like that. Okay. Let me go into this because I know Goddard's is going to be getting into something like this. So I have a level 1 indoor comprehensive course that I've been running for years. We call it in our particular area here in Calgary, it's the indoor provincial course, where umpires get certified at that entry level for this. But this is open for anybody. If you're interested in indoor hockey and you want to feel like you have a full comprehensive knowledge of the rules and how to apply them and how to position yourself and how to manage a game, then you could come in and find this course yourself. You can see it's there. It's long. I'll put a link in the chat so you can have a look. And I'm currently in talks with people about using this in more places. Did that work? I don't think that worked. That worked. Oh, come on, really? You're gonna do this to me. You're gonna do this to me right now. Frederick, you're watching from Ghana as well. Wait, you're not the same? Wow, I got 2 people from Ghana today? Just give me an air horn. I want that action. What a great day. Oh my goodness. Slapping versus slap hitting. I don't, there is no difference to me. I don't know why. How can you slap the ball without it being hit? It's redundant. There you go. Oh, it did appear. Okay, good. So from this course, I have a unit in here which is all about hitting the ball. Okay. And a lot of this is pulled and guided by here it is, by the FIH indoor briefing, obviously. And I've taught an indoor level 1 course at the FIH Academy. So I'm well familiar with that. This is international standard and how we talk about it. As this player sends the ball back over to the other side of the pitch, that's called as a free push against, because she had a backswing of more than, look how big that is. That's probably over a meter of that backswing. That is considered a hit. So despite the fact that the stick is in contact with the ground the whole time, taking the stick away from the ball and striking it through, and then the follow through that happens makes that a hit. Okay, I hope
So
you
I'll just
heard
show that
all
again.
of that. I'm going to turn down the volume again. So what I'm describing, just in case the sound didn't come through, it looked like it did, but I could be absolutely wrong. Yeah, now I'm worried I was absolutely wrong. So what we're looking at is that, first of all, the distance between where the stick begins its forward motion, because there is a backswing, and when it contacts the ball is definitely more than a meter. Now, if you're from the Netherlands, for example, you have in your briefing locally a 50 centimeter rule. And I mean, that's kind of hard. And what I say is, and I think for international guidelines, it's like, it's definitely got to be under a meter. Is easier to look at. Meter distances are easier to sort of than like 50 centimeters is very, very hard to perceive. Oh, the sound did come through. Fantastic. Okay. So it's that extra movement away. Let's have a look at the replay again, and let's see if I can pull this out. Okay, that looked a little weird for a bit. Okay. This, I'm going to use my handy video pencil tool to annotate on the screen. Look at that. This is amazing stuff. Okay, so initial reception is, there's a little bit of a bobble away. But it's this motion here, and I think actually if I'm going to come to the slow motion part because it's even easier to slow-mo the slow-mo. I'm in 0.25 times speed. Okay, so there's the reception. And now she's setting up her feet and moving away. From here, I think you're fine. So if her stick had moved forward from this point, I'd say, yep, that's under a meter. That's going to be fine. But what happens is, what had happened was, there's now this extra backswing that comes into play. This is the maximal distance here. And it's hard, but we have a fairly side-on view, I think, between the ball and the stick. And if I were to say if this is more than 1 meter, I would say yes. And it's that cocking of the wrists to snap it back so that she can snap through, using her stick as a pivot point around which the ball then gets impacted quickly and springs off, instead of being pushed along the stick, along the ground, or as you'd look for an indoor, or being propelled in the air on the stick. That does not happen here. You have a matching impact of force, and then the ball springs away. That's how I see it. And I'd love to hear if that makes sense to you, if that gives you more meat to make these kind of determinations and to go back and forth. Let's see. Everybody's saying cool, 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 cool. Okay. So going back, did I go back to the yeah, I did. Okay, here we go. And I think that it's important to go through those steps to recognize what are the key points you're looking for. You're looking for distance. You're looking for an extra motion back. The backswing, as a few people pointed out. And then you're looking for in that motion if the ball stays on the stick at all, because a push is much more about the ball staying on the stick for some period of time. Not a ton, all the time. And in indoor, it's very like, ooh, kind of close. And what's interesting for me is I'm presenting this, and I presented the indoor stuff. We looked at the definitions. Goddard's had us run through them. We looked at an indoor video. We listened to the thinking. And although the reason that we call these is different than, like, the spirit behind it is different than how we called it indoor, to me, I think you still get to the same result because of the facts. The spirit of it would come much more into if this were even closer than it is. This isn't far off from being okay. Like, this really isn't. Somebody on Twitter was all like, "This is unbelievable. How does the umpire not see this?" It's like, dude, it's a lot harder than you think. Trust. But if I really felt like I'm looking at that distance and saying, you know, I think it's 50 centimeters. I think it's, you know, it's there. It's really close. Then I would defer to the thinking that what danger we truly trying to prevent here, and has that danger been prevented because of the offset of the ball being passed over to the side and all that sort of thing. Like, does it look like you're calling a technicality, or you're really protecting the players? You see what I mean? See that difference? And does that mean that decisions will be different in different fact scenarios? Absolutely. Are you going to be the umpire that is all officious and stamps all over this and makes the highly technical call because you got out a tape measure and you were able to measure your 75 centimeters and say, no? You don't want to be that person. None of us do. Okay. Wayne, for you, oh, it helps. Okay. It's a lot easier to make. Oh, yes. It's way easier to make the decision in slow motion. I agree. And the trail was out of position help. Well, we don't know where the supporting umpire was. We can see them in the replay. I take that back. You absolutely can see where the supporting umpire is, and I think they're fine. That's not a decision that we are really asking the supporting umpire to make. Really, they are that far away, and processing the difference and that subtlety of the backswing and that sort of thing, that's too hard for them. We talked about supporting umpires last week and what their jobs are, and how really important it is that we stop thinking that they're a double check on everything in the circle, but they really have to focus on a few things. They have to focus on the height of the drag flick that hits the first runner. They have to focus on third-party line blocking running lanes. They have to see the off-ball stuff. And they have to see whether the shot's going on goal. I'm pointing outside of the camera. Okay? Those are the three things we really need them to focus on. And we're missing the middle one. And actually, if I'd said that third, I would have said we missed the last part, because more and more we're seeing that as an employed strategy. And Wayne, I'm sure you've seen this a lot, and so is everybody else, that coaches are structuring their penalty corner defense plays and their attacking movements to create space by posting up, by interrupting people's running lines, and hoping they get away with it. And a lot of times they do, because it's really hard to see in the moment. Especially for that controlling umpire, we have to split up the responsibilities. They are not a double check on absolutely everything. And Simon, super clear. So in lower EH leagues, you get more pushback about this being the first shot on goal than it being a hit versus a drag flick. Yeah. It's hard. And, you know, there you go. And this one's actually less dangerous than a drag flick. Yeah, I know. And that's... And it's difficult, because you want to say, well, the rule could be reformulated. I think the rationale is good. If this player had... The whole reason it's safe is because she bobbles the ball. Because the ball is bouncing when it gets to her. I absolutely 100% believe that the way that they've drilled this particular variation is that the ball comes to her and she corrals it on the stick and flicks it into the goal. But the slap hit to get to her bobbles. So she actually has to pull her feet up and get her feet behind the ball because she's going to see if she can keep it in bounds regardless, and maybe the umpire won't see it if it hits her feet. It's just good skill work, okay? Like, we're not judging here. And then she has to take a second thing, and that extra time makes all the difference as to whether this is safe or not. And the way that the D runs out, they run a pretty high diamond, and the post player's on the left-hand side. So there's nobody in the way. Great. But does that mean that, you know, we're not calling actual danger? This is one of those technical rules that inside the D, in a penalty corner, we have to follow the steps. Does that make sense? There you go. Good luck, Luke. Hopefully you're good. Okay. Let's go to the poll results and see what y'all say. Let's see. So for 77% of you believe it was a raised hit. And for goal, 23% of you. We're still there. And Mike, you're finding it interesting. None of the Bloomingdale players look like they disagree. Yeah. Yeah, I would have been too. I would have been as well. And sometimes when a certain culture of decision or a certain interpretive level is common, which may actually not be correct in a particular area, the players aren't complaining very much. But there you go. And like, let's face it, Godders would have been arguing for... No, I'm just kidding. He wouldn't have argued for anything. Very reasonable people. Okay. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. I felt like I was preparing the indoor stuff kind of at the last minute, because I was like, wait a minute, I've talked about this somewhere. It's not like it's my first time at this rodeo. Where have I talked about it before? Oh, in my indoor course. Oh, I could talk about that. Yes, you know, there you go. Frederick, what do you got? Most umpires watch the game acting as spectators. Yes, absolutely. We see that problem. Yes. So one of the things that we do very much in our FHU3T membership, yellow membership, is we do watch parties where we are watching games together and talking about what we're seeing and from an umpiring perspective. And sometimes, occasionally, we might get a little caught up in the amazing skill and the athleticism that we're seeing from the players, and like that's fine. But I'm really trying to teach us as umpires how to watch a game. What are we looking for? Why are we looking at certain things? What will they mean? Can we predict what's going to happen later on in the game because of what is happening in that particular moment? So it's very much a work in progress, and it takes a lot of practice. I actually am kind of sad when I watch hockey now and I'm not in any kind of official role capacity, because I just don't watch the game. I don't watch players. And it would be fun to. It'd be fun to enjoy and just like be a fan and like cheer for and want one team really badly to win. That would be amazing. But I don't do that in hockey anymore. I want the third team to be amazing. And they're the people I'm cheering for. They're the people I'm studying and watching and rooting for and all that sort of thing. So anyway, really good points though. I like that. Okay. What did I want to talk about? Right. So when I asked Raju where he's from, where he's tuning in from, he talked about the fact that he is from Goa, which I know it's a very large city. There's a club in Toronto actually called Goa. So if there's a whole hockey club in Canada in Toronto named Goa, you know that it's a big place and very important in hockey culture. And I was talking to Gayatri the other day. Gayatri is where is she? She is second on the right from the umpires. So the three guys at the front are the UMs, and then there's another young lady, and then there's Gayatri, who is just finishing up her sub 18. It's weird, under 18 championship regional tournament, and sent me this photo, and I mean, God, that is so cool. Like, what a great photo that is. Anyway, so she's been reporting into me almost every day, which has been fantastic, and letting me know how things are going, and I've really liked the status reports. But one morning she said, so one of my senior umpires sat me down to show me a video, and it was you. And I was like, what? She said, yeah, it was you, because actually you don't know how many people in India watch your stuff. They just watch it on replay. So, okay, first of all, I want to point out a couple things. This isn't to be meta. Like, wait. I did it. I'm wearing black and the same glasses. I wanted to show you that I actually create Google auto-translated captioning in a variety of languages, because I want people to feel that they have an opportunity to understand. I do speak a little more slowly usually when I'm doing live streams, because I'm trying to be clear and enunciate. So for people who are trying to learn English, because it is the language of hockey, but I truly respect how hard it is, and that you're having to work a lot harder as a second language. So I've done this. So you could listen to me speak in English, but you can watch the subtitles in your language. So there's a whole bunch. There's Indonesian and Italian and German and Dutch and Hindi, and if I've missed your language, tell me. But I go by what YouTube tells me the highest percentage of languages are spoken in my audience are. That's how I do it. 14% of you speak Hindi. And I'd like to welcome you all. Thank you. That's amazing. And if you're one of those people, drop something in the comments for me. Let me know. And let me know if that is actually useful for you, because it is a bit of work. I'm happy to do it. But if it's not useful, if it doesn't help, if you could do it on your own or whatever, just tell me and I won't. But yes, great stuff. Plenty of umpires watch the game when they should be umpiring. Exactly. No time for fun. I'm just kidding. It's not that. Yes, and Rodrigo's Spanish is, yeah, you see the Spanish there. And I don't choose between Latin American and Spain Spanish, because I know probably most of you are Latin American Spanish, but anyway, I hope it works. And I want to hear if you have the captions turned on and you see something and it's hilarious, like it's a really bad mistranslation, please let me know, because I want them to be like outtakes. Like, you said this, and this is what it was told to us in Hindi, and I would love to, because that would just be hilarious. So I'm not promising that they're fantastic translations, is what I'm trying to say. There you go. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that this, I missed putting this picture up last week, but I've been thinking about it a lot, because there's been a little bit of a fallout. I'm trying to decide how much I want to talk about this, but there's been a little bit of a fallout from the whole EHO shirt debacle still. Some people are really upset at the language that I used in particular when I discussed this issue, and I have it clipped. I'm not going to show it again right now, but I might show it like on another episode if we need to replay it. And I was really, really upset. I was really upset. And although the languaging that I used at the time was a very accurate reflection of how I felt, targeting a profanity at a person is not a good choice. I regret that choice, and I apologize for that choice. Now I'd love to hear the AHO apologize for making a really shit decision about match shirts. absent that ever coming through, we have match shirts here, modeled by one of my favorite people in the community, Rachel. I am so proud of Rachel and everything that she's doing. You have never met somebody who umpires more and gives more of their time for this game than Rachel does. When she talks about how many matches she umpires in a weekend and that she's going all through the summer and does a ton of indoor and will do like 20 games a day in indoor, like it's ridiculous. So the fact that there is not a shirt that is inclusive of Rachel's needs provided by her officiating association is absolutely ridiculous. And you can't on one hand celebrate Tess Howard and all the amazing stuff that she's done for women's uniforms as players and then say, yeah, but we don't really need to provide women's shirts because whatever. So although I apologize for the language that I used in that moment, I do not apologize for the stance I made because I am fighting for both Rachel and Boo, who she's standing with right next to her. Boo is the future of women umpires in England and worldwide. And when I see the two of them together, it makes me tear up. And I want to make sure that Boo understands that she has a place in this community. She is more than welcome in this community. And I'm fighting my ass off to make sure that more and more women get into umpiring. So I don't take it back. Not the anger and not the approbation and not the absolute conviction that that is the wrong decision and they have to change it. And when they do, they're going to have to apologize. Thank you very much. Okay. I was going to do all that. Did I do a... That's a QR code if you want to go see the match shirts on the site. How did I do? Oh, I forgot the other thing I just wanted to show you as well. This is a picture of Ali Baggett in action in Canada West competition, which is our local university here in Western Canada. A lot of the national team Canadian players who go through the system play in that conference, by the way. And this is Ali, and I hope you can see, she's wearing the skirt that I had made. And a lot of people asked me, Keely, like, why don't you have pants and, for guys? And I'm like, because you can walk into any golf store and find a perfect, amazingly built for purpose set of pants. They're everywhere. But finding a skirt that works, that is comfortable, and that is purpose built for holding your cards and you can get them out quickly and they don't fall out, that's hard. So I made a skirt and I did not make pants. Sue me. Okay. Those are my announcements. Don't get Jeanette started again. Oh, Jeanette, you and I have to talk because there's more on that story. Rachel is absolutely a role model. Absolutely. Thank you, Frederick. It's the right thing. It's the right thing. And it's really, it wasn't my proudest moment. So just like I sort of alluded to when we were watching the first clip, one thing I've learned about umpiring is it's very important to say, I was wrong about that decision. I didn't have the rules straight in my head, or I wasn't in the right position to see it, or whatever. Now, we're not going to be blurting that out constantly throughout a game if we're having a really bad one. But when we realize that we have things to learn from the mistakes that we make, there is absolutely nothing wrong. It's actually the best thing to do because it frees you from the ego of the attachment to the wrong thing. And there are a lot of people in this world who should really try that on. And the best nails that you've ever seen in an amazing umpire. This is awesome. Yes, even you. Oh, Bob Jordan says hi. Okay. Oh, okay. No worries, Bob. On the replay, put something in the comments and say hi and say that you're here. It'd be nice to have a wave. You can't see an option for... Yes, Canadian English isn't an option. Just kidding. We don't have proper English either. Okay, short show. These aerial goals. They're both from Hockey
among the other
Ones.
stars, but
my goodness.
Orch reckons he's going to shine,
this
and he's
one came
already
from
done so.
Luke.
Oh my goodness, there's a goal.
How on earth have they transitioned so quickly for Tom Craig to get their third?
Many would
Set
argue
up
the
by
men's
the man
smalls
who I was
origin.
just talking about, Tim Brand, sending it through
Mark, thank
the
you for that.
field, up into the air, bounced perfectly for Tom Craig. Look at this, Tim Brand sends the aerial. We've got to watch it in slow motion. It happened that fast. Jack Hayes, oh my goodness, that's one of the goals of the year. The tennis.
Okay, so yes, my friend Luke Barnard sent this to me on Instagram. And do you have questions? Because I have questions. The poll is there. There are some options. If you have an answer in your head, by the way, that isn't in the poll, feel free to give your own answer. If it's restart with a bully, I'm going to disconnect your buzzer. I'm just kidding. Ooh, that's a little strong. Rodrigo, I didn't clean up that last sip. Whew. That's tart. You better, girl. You better. That's the idea. And hi from, okay, Netherlands? I'm used to the 3-letter country codes that are used by the FIH. And my friends hate it because I will never say, I won't use like monetary or anything like that. I always use the country code for international play. I'm sorry. But Franz, I'm gonna guess that's Netherlands. If I'm wrong, correct me. And I will apologize because I'm willing to do that after I find out I'm wrong. So first of all, if you watch this as a hockey fan, you're going to be like, ha, wow, what a goal. Yes, they're already proclaiming this is the goal of the year in Hockey Ones. Apparently they don't watch the Dutch Hoofdklasse because I'd say that Zach Wallace's goal in the first game of the season kills this. But there you go. Luke number 4. Yes. This is Tom Craig's goal, and it's Luke. I just heard his name, and I've forgotten it now. Okay, Keith, thank you. This is the question I had as well. Is the goalkeeper the initial receiver in this case? And the attacker backs into that space and less than 2 meters, making it within playing distance. So I'm not a huge fan of the whole 2 meters being playing distance, because if that were the case, then that would be what's written in the rule as playing distance. Playing distance is a bit more nuanced than that. It has to do with directionality of the ball and the height of the ball, where it's coming down from, and that sort of thing. But I think you can safely call this playing distance. And I'm very interested in watching player understanding develop about these rules and their reactions in the moment as to how, you know, these things happen. Now, I think this was like the 1 goal this team scored in the game, and 7 by the opposition. 2, no, I got that very wrong. That I'm confusing it with a different game. But when you watch the goalkeeper's body language, he kind of goes, but so there's, unless he was able to swear very vociferously under his breath without letting his body language show it, he doesn't look mad. He just looks a little confused and a little bemused. Like, what else was I supposed to do? because he's not going to want to move any closer to the, he's not going to want to shift that receiving area at all, because it's then going to look like he's definitely the one infringing. And the penalty for him doing so is so high. He knows that. He knows that it's going to be a stroke because he can see everything happening. And to me, in watching this, this is a case where you either have no clear initial receiver or the goalkeeper is the initial receiver. Doesn't matter. It's not really material. And it's not an interception that is outside of playable distance. What do you see, Simon? You see a goalkeeper in space not moving, the attacker reversing into the goalkeeper space within 5 meters. You think this steers your thinking. Okay. And Rachel? Yep. Marcus, yeah, the attacker's retreating to get to the ball, but you're thinking not the obvious initial receiver. And that's fine. That's fine. Make sure you go vote in the poll. Hi, Samantha, friend. Good to see you. So the other point that I want to draw out of this particular scenario before I go look at the poll is I want to draw a little bit of attention. Surprise! I'm going to draw some attention to positioning. Not dragging. Pointing out that a method of positioning that we've been relying on for the last 30 plus years is not well equipped to deal with the modern game and how the game has shot past us evolution wise and left us in the dirt. Here's our umpire who is at this point taking off, but at the time he was here and the ball is here on the sideline. He is approximately, he's probably, that is the 15-meter mark there. And this is a meter over this is 2 meters over the line. So he is 10 meters away from the ball at the moment that it's happening. My first tip and piece of advice would be, that's really, really close. That's really, really close and really far away from your mission critical area, which is your goal. And then when you see the umpire running, they're looking over their shoulder and their focus is on the ball, which is pretty natural, right? There's lots of fouls that happen around the ball in many occasions. He's probably worried about whether it's going to be safe on the way up, if it's an aerial, or if it gets played and it's mistrapped and that sort of thing. But the problem is, and I don't know if we get this one on the replay very well. Okay. So, I mean, right in this moment, you can see attention is focused in this direction. He doesn't know where the goalkeeper is. And this is why this positioning style does not work for any game in which you have aerial balls. And I would argue for very, very many levels of the game going all the way. You can get away with a lot at very slow, unskilled levels, but that doesn't mean that you're doing good habits that are going to help you out. You're still going to get caught by a ball that gets smacked along the ground. You think that right to left slant diagonal ball is never going to get through all those spaces. And then all of a sudden, player 1, player 2, player 3 all mistrap it and it's in your circle and something important is happening and you are not in your happy place in your mission critical area in order to make the decision. So at the moment that the ball is starting to come down, he's probably been watching the ball in the air because the ball's pretty. We like to stare at it. Which means that, again, he doesn't know that the goalkeeper is in the receiving area. And that this player has started further away and is starting to back in. It's impossible to clock that in the moment. However, if the umpire had been here in their happy place, that's sort of translating, he would have had this more in his periphery. And actually, he would have been a little further over there. But he would have had all that in his periphery. And the ball would have been traveling. And he would have been able to see that peripherally. And then seeing the players right in front of him. But he'd be like, oh, I got it. That's an easy decision. Okay. So that is the difference that mission critical positioning can make in these kind of decisions. And obviously, I just have to show it quickly. If you want to know more about mission critical positioning, this stream has been brought to you by QR code in the link, or in the thing here. MCP. You're not just ahead of me, Godders. You're not just ahead of me with MCP. You're ahead of the game. Bam. Did you get that? Let's go back to whoops. I navigated my way right out of this whole live stream so I can deal with Taco's question. So if the attacker is not the first receiver, the initial receiver, possibly, is that an allowed interception? Pretty close. And it's a safe when you think so. I think it's within playing distance. Was it particularly dangerous? No. But the fact that the goalkeeper is just so disciplined and not reaching makes it look safer than it even is, because the goalkeeper is terrified he's the one who's going to get called. So there you go. And Benno, you think the attacker is the initial receiver and the goalkeeper was not 5. Why do you think the attacker was the initial receiver? Because he's not in the space that the ball is going to. He has to move as the ball is in travel. And from 20 meters from where the ball is in the air to where it is the attacker in the receiving area first? I don't believe so. And that's okay if you see it differently. That's fine. I just want to make sure we're talking about exactly the same things, and that it's difficult for us as well with the camera, the way that the camera moves. The camera's tracking the ball, which just shows you how we can't be tracking the ball when we're making these decisions. Okay? Hope that helps. Oh, drive-by smash the like button. Thanks, Joel. I will see you later. Literally, in the replay squad. There you go. And yes, God, are making that comment. Okay. 80% going with the free hit defense. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that. Let's have a look. I don't want the music playing. MCP saved you 2K. Does that mean less beer at full time? I would hate to be the reason that you feel like fewer beverages are coming your way. That is an unintended negative consequence. But think of it this way, that your knees are going to last a lot longer. So that's the good news. And Scott, you coached an umpire last week. The intended receiver is not necessarily the initial receiver. Absolutely. That's a very good point, Scott. Maybe that's, Mabeno, maybe that is a bit of the languaging that we're sorting through here for you. I don't know. Let me know if that explanation made any more sense to you. If you're firm in that you think the attacker was the initial receiver, then okay. So this play is another aerial goal, but has some interesting nuances about it. And I've paused the replay at this moment, so again, you can see at the moment that the ball was going, and just the body language of the confusion of the defender is one thing. I'm not saying that's definitive. I'm just pointing it out to you. I just want you to take in all these pieces of information as you're looking at them. Alistair, the Dutch rules state that if there's no clear initial receiver, the team who raised the ball has to allow the opposing team to control the ball. So no interception outside playing distance then. No, that's not. Interceptions still exist because they're clearly in the rule book. So I don't believe that your Dutch guidance is intending to overrule that. I sure hope not. An interception outside of playing distance and safe should still be permitted. Regardless, because that is a rule of hockey. It says so in the rule. It's there in the rule. Okay. So at the moment, oh, Taco, you're ready for this. What is the player doing in the goal before the reception? That isn't allowed, is it? Yeah, go vote in the poll. So, as we have a look. Okay, this is as the ball is, this is less than 20 meters, I think, as the ball is coming down. And I'm trying to count. And it's from our angle, we're not at a great angle to see how far away these two are from each other. That makes that look even bigger, but see if that's 7. I mean, I'm looking at this and this is looking like, again, like 2 meters. Maybe. Oh, this is the one time using a yellow pencil isn't very helpful. Don't worry. I can change color. There we go. Okay, so it looks pretty small, doesn't it? And then the attacker is clearly standing in the goal. And the rules of hockey say, rules. I sure hope these are the outdoor rules again. Players may not... I'm trying to find it now because I didn't even look for it. Here it is, 914. Here, look at me pointing at my screen. 914. Players must not intentionally enter the goal of their opponents. The goal that their opponents are defending, or run behind their goal. By the way, foreshadowing. Keep this in mind. 914. Okay. Has the forward intentionally gone into goal or just stepped in whilst watching the ball? Well, what do we need to have in terms of intent here? How do we define intention for the purposes of intentional fouls and giving cards? We don't say that the player is meaning to commit a foul, that they're fully in the brain that I am going to commit a stick obstruction here and require a foul to be called. No, what they're doing is that they are in full control, or they're in control of their actions that are reckless as to the result that play will be broken down. Okay, so they don't have to mean to miss the tackle, but they know full well that they're in a really bad spot. They're unlikely to be successful, and if they are unsuccessful, it stops the play, and they shouldn't have tried it from there if they didn't have a good chance at doing it. Basically, is what we define as intention there. If we take that and port that into this situation, we're not dealing with breakdown play. Clearly, you can't break yourself down. But was this attacker in control of their motions? If their awareness of where they were wasn't there, do we still impute that they intentionally ran into the attacker's goal or were stepped in to the goal that the opposing players were defending? To be very technical about it, I believe he's in full control of. Okay, so that's there. Thank you. Everybody's chiming in with 914, and yes, Abeno is there. that if the ball is touched behind the baseline, it's no goal. Yeah. Yeah, because it hasn't been touched by an attacker inside the circle prior to fully crossing over the goal line. So, very true. Simon, the attacker was over the baseline in the goal when he played the ball. Is that allowed? Sorry, we had already covered that. And it's a free hit defense for multiple reasons, says Luke. Yeah. So we've had discussions about players being over that goal line, attackers being over that goal line when goals are being scored. And there was an instance, and I'll link to it in the description and put a little thing up here. It was I think it was at Euros, maybe in like 2018, and it was Scotland and Ireland. And a Scottish player, I believe, no, it could have been the other way around. Anyway, an attacker was running for a rebound type situation and touched the ball before it crossed the line, making sure it would go in, and also entered the goal at that time. And there was a question as to, well, are they inside the goal? Have they intentionally run inside the goal? And to me, the answer is no. That goal should stand because there was no... At the time that the goal was being scored, there was no effect of that player. Like, he wasn't already in the goal and then gained an advantage in order to be able to score the goal. And yeah, I lost my train of thought. Okay. Anyway, you guys are probably ahead of me on it anyway. That is, for me, very distinguishable from this situation. Because what we have is, first of all, an attacker standing behind an initial receiver, potentially. Or maybe there was no clear initial receiver. What is weird is that the body language of the defender, I mean, God, if you're going to sell this, if you're going to give the umpire a reason to make this decision, don't just stand there and put your arms in the air and go, what? Like, freaking try to play the ball. Do your job. And then you would have got the decision. Instead, he's just like, there's a guy behind me. What's happening? Give me the call. Bloody hell, it's like an obstruction where you push the ball by and then you go, oh, I can't play. Very naive. But the reason the attacker is inside the goal is so that he can have that little bit more separation. So he's not infringing on the 5 meters. The purpose of his positioning there is to take advantage of that role. Which then gives him an advantage that allows him to score the goal. Let's assume that he touched the ball before it crossed the goal line. He's inside the goal in an advantageous way, and that just shouldn't be allowed. If he stayed in the field, he would have been even closer. Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Godders. It's like we're mind twins. He wasn't already in the goal and made attempts not to follow the ball in the net. This is different. Yes, exactly. That was the... Luke remembers that show. He's been in most of the shows, so that's probably why. Okay, let's... And everybody. Not everybody. But 90%. 90.999 believe that it is a free hit defense for the attacker being inside the goal. Nobody picked up the no clear initial receiver. That's totally cool. Whatever. Whatever. Just knowing that is warming the cockles of my heart, as it were. Okay, let's move on. Let's go with this PC defense. This is my music. Play it. Something weird is happening. Samantha, on the other one, in your opinion, he stepped back to try to avoid the free hit defense. Yep. Agree, agree, agree. I'm just trying to get my teleprompter working again, but if it doesn't, don't worry. I'm a professional. I can do this without a teleprompter. Oh, stop it. I might have a faulty cable. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, so this came from my friend in Kenya. And where is his name? I want to make sure I attempt to say this correctly, but I'm not going to. Okoth Stefan, I believe. Please, if you're on the stream, if you're watching on the replay, please let me know if I didn't horribly mangle your name. But he tagged me in this one from the Instagrams. And I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's why I'm not super hung up on the initial receiver part. And that's why I'm like, if that player had attempted to play the ball, he would have been fine. So it's a good point to make. You're absolutely right. But it would have looked, if the attacker wasn't in the goal, it would have looked like no clear initial receiver. Because they would have been a meter closer to each other and would have only been a meter apart. And that's too close. Like, would I blow this in the center of the court? Everything changes because the goal is there. Because there is a boundary that defines where the players are able to play the ball. That changes everything. You've not... Luke, this may have been at a Blackpool festival. So, I will have the link in the description later. The Instagram comments here are ridiculous. There are some people who, I mean, first of all, have clearly never read the rules of hockey, because they're like, the defenders can't run behind the goal. And it's like, yes, they can. Because we just looked at 914, and what did it say? Players cannot run behind the net of the goal that their opposing players are defending. They can run behind theirs if they want. Okay, that's not a foul. B of all, people are saying you can't exit the field. Therefore, it's a penalty, stroke, and a card. And it's like, what are you... How do you get there from... Have you ever seen anybody awarded a team penalty because they didn't come into the field in the right part of the field? No, it's just something that we manage. It is not a team penalty. Unless there's some grand advantage that results, and then you just... Like, it's just ridiculous. And the whole point of this play is shithousery. This is shithousing at its finest. And the only people that these four in the striped shirts disadvantage are their goalkeeper. They disadvantage themselves. This is a gift to the opposition. Now, you look at, there's like 4 in red. He's clapping. Now, that might be derisory clapping. He might be like, yeah, you assholes. Like, what do you think this is? Maybe he was super mad. Before the penalty corner even goes, the goalkeeper makes a motion like, he does this. And was that emotion saying, I know what's about to happen because we're going to do this little trick because I want to make this save? No, it doesn't need expanding, Scott. It doesn't, because it doesn't disadvantage the opposition. They didn't go from one post to the other. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They do not run behind the goal. They run behind the goal. But it doesn't meet the rule because it's not the opposition's goal. Everybody, are we on track on this? Come on. Come on. No. I mean, really? I just don't. It does say they can't run behind either goal? If I'm wrong about this, I'm going to have to apologize twice in one show. And I'm going to quit. It does say either goal. Fuck! But here's the point. I was wrong. But this is the whole point. Scott has it right. Thank goodness somebody's getting something right today. God, I've had a couple of rough shows. You can't commit offense against your own team. And if shithousing is worth a penalty stroke and a card, I don't get it. I don't get it. Red should be humiliated that they didn't score. Like, I don't know. The ball goes outside the 5 meters so that they could have raised it at any height anyway. Like, everything. Did anyone... no. Nobody claimed... Well, not that I read, but probably somebody would have thought that. Okay. So was it technically legal? No. Is it disadvantaging the opposition? No. Would I look at this game and make sure I understand the context in which it's being played? Like, this could be an exhibition game between two friendly schools who are like, let's have some fun today. We have no idea. If this is like the state final or the county final of the under 16 boys and it's super serious and these guys engage in that, I'd be like, that's kind of disrespectful. And I don't think you should do that again. And I'd have a word with the captain, be like, come on, don't do that. Otherwise, it's fine. Both teams will look at you. Yes, they would. And that's kind of the litmus test. What are the teams expecting you to do? Nothing. If there's some way to facilitate a retake, you can go for it if you want. But yeah, I know. Yeah, 12-foot-1. Thank you. I'm glad you guys have my back on that one. I did fail to look at that. This is what happens, friends, when you don't review the rule carefully before you do a presentation online and live streaming. Where are we at? Ooh, 5 minutes? Okay. Let's see what we've got. Oh, yes. This goalkeeper tackle. Let me make sure I've got the sound off on this. So this was posted by our friends at the Royal Belgium Hockey Association. Please give them a follow on Facebook. I will have a link to this exact video in the description very shortly. But of all of the national associations, I don't think there's one who spends more of their social media energy and love and devotion on umpires than these folks. They are fantastic. They celebrate their technical officials, they celebrate umpires, they celebrate their volunteers, but the way they showcase the third team is outstanding. And they do so in an environment where their women's team is really coming up and their men's team, you know, they've won a few things. So they could ignore, but they don't. They don't, because they're amazing, amazing people. So go follow them for their umpiring content and you'll get some other things about Belgian hockey as well. So there you go. They were looking to get the tournament hat, and either goal means the box they're attacking. I don't know what the tournament hat is, but that's something like that. Maybe that's why they hit. Okay. High coaching hockey. The requirement to wear a mask, if it exists, is going to be a local regulation only, not a rule of hockey. So nobody is required to wear a face mask unless there's something in your rules, and clearly it's not in that jurisdiction. So we don't have to worry about things that don't matter. Let's not be all like everybody's got to wear masks all the time. Jeez. This is why we can't have nice things. Okay. So let's have a quick look at this. I don't know if any of the rest of you saw this on Facebook, but I sure did. And they did already put out the results, so I'm not ruining their social media steam. I just want to elevate what they're doing and have a good conversation. And what they do is they have one of their FIH or national umpires come on and explain the decision a week later in their language. And so we've had Flemish and we've had French, and I can understand, pick up quite a bit from Michel Dutroux. I hope I'm saying that somewhat right as well. And that sort of thing. So let's just see. Do I have this one on slow? Do I have this one on slow? Where is it? Oh, it's 1:30, and guess what? I'm supposed to be doing my push-ups. Don't let me forget to do my push-ups when we go to tees, okay? So, yes. Everybody's saying no foul play on. Okay. So just to go through it very quickly, again, no shade, but I do want to point out that when you are looking over your shoulder and you're running away from the play, you are not going to have the best ability to make an accurate decision. He does make the right decision, but he puts himself in a tough spot. It narrows your view. And if you are moving at this point, you're going to be activated, your hormone levels are going to be high, all that kind of stuff. Much better for you to actually already be in your happy place and to be facing this way and looking at the play and welcoming it coming towards you. Mission control position. Yes. Mission critical positioning every day, all day of the week. So let me just slow this down really, really carefully. Okay, so he's still kind of getting himself around. Ball is here. Okay. Ball is good. And what we're looking for is the goalkeeper's log. Are they coming through the space that the attacker is in the moment? Are they late getting to the attacker? So just a clean tackle the ball isn't enough. It has to be, are they not moving into the space where the ball isn't? Okay, so the ball is here, but actually what happens is it's the player's foot that trips on the goalkeeper here. And at this point, the goalkeeper is not moving extraordinarily. He can't expect them to be motionless, but they're pretty darn close. And so it's the attacker's responsibility in this case to be able to run around, because you expect the goalkeeper to go to ground. You expect them to log. They did so. And we're good. Do you have time to show and celebrate Neil Smith's goal? I don't know which one this is. Oh, it's the, yes, it's the next play. It's the next clip. Yeah. It was actually his kind of elbow shoulder thing, whatever. Tacos with a play on. Yeah. No, you don't. No, Mabeno, we're not penalizing anything there, because it doesn't disadvantage the opposition. It actually gifts them an opportunity to score an open net other than the goalkeeper goal, and they failed to do it, so you don't. Tom, it's clean. He puts down the block and is laying still. Yep. There you go. Okay. And the goalkeeper makes a great tackle. Let me take this off, and has the right to stand their ground, meaning they don't have to get out of the way and the attacker cause their own trouble falling over. Okay. Let's see if anybody had time to vote. Oh, yeah. 14 of you. Dang. Let's go. 100%. That's what I like to see. Okay. Last play. I think this is what Goddard was talking about. This goal off the umpire. So Rajkana alerted me to this, but it's been everywhere ever since.
A week often help or hinder.
This happened in
I think it's a little bit of both.
University,
I think as you can go
I believe.
through, pause
Chance here on the attack, and watching the umpire closely. And that's the opening goal of the game. And Beeston not very happy with that at all.
So this comes up probably once a year on the live streams where the ball goes off the umpire into the goal. And what I think is interesting about this play actually is that you don't see Beeston disputing that the ball has gone off the umpire and should not be a goal. They're fine with that. What actually is the problem here? Oh, that didn't work out very well. Let's see if I can fix this quickly. No, I won't be able to do that. Let's see if I can do this on the live. This is going to be a lot harder. As the ball is rocketing across, it's right here. I think what they're upset about is the ball going off the attacker's foot there, which is why. Or it hits the second attacker as well. Hard to say. So what's interesting about this play is not the rule that the umpire just doesn't exist and anything that hits them, it's a play on situation. What's interesting is there a positional adjustment that you can make that puts you less in danger of this particular play? Let's see if I can do this really quickly. I can. Oh, you can't defeat me. So one of the things that I like to think about when the ball is over on this far side of the field is whether this is a good time for me to be thinking about, should I be moving? That's way off the screen. Should I be moving into a position where I'm not in this train track? Because as we play this on, you can see that the ball comes straight across, and literally it's this, I think, is a potential problem, but it's blurry. It's hard to say. And then this gets blocked out, but the umpire's view, he is right in that train track of all of those things that are happening. Can't see that foot, can't see that foot, can't see that back stick, can't see, you know, you're just so anticipating possible lines of the ball. And I think he was actually going to try to move to flash up a little bit so that he could see back down into this direction. Perhaps. Because having a very stationary position, you should always be thinking about, if I move one step to this side, one step to that side, does that give me a better angle on everything that's happening in the play? How does 10.2? Okay. Sorry, I didn't say that there's a bunch of other comments on this one. Yes, so I am on the right place. Yep, we do know this. What is happening to my scene? Let's get this out of the way. And it was almost a perfect show. Almost. Yeah. There's no voting for this one, Tom, because it's obvious. This had to be 100% on this one. So yeah, and just back to the, just so it makes sense when people are watching on replay, I'll just pop back to this to finish up the comments. Sorry, you know, because of the delay that sometimes I think, oh, that conversation's definitely over, and then in the next 30 seconds there's like 15 really great comments that I want to include. I don't think it's a dive. I mean, but it's him. It was his fault. He didn't get up and get really mad that he didn't get the call. He just, you know, didn't. Where was this one? There's no injury. Let's see. Did I get everything? Okay. So back to this replay. Yep, all there, all there. Valid goal, sadly. Umpire reflexes are so important. Yeah. Oh, he was a goalkeeper in a previous life. Yeah, I never have problem getting out of the way of the ball. Unless it's like shot directly at me from a close range. I'm like, I'm out of here. Bye. Even when I'm a defender. Yeah. I know, isn't it good? Isn't it good? Yes, very much technical difficulties. You once had an umpire blow for his own foot in the middle of the field, gave you the ball. Oh. Ugh. Yeah, that's a groan. That's sads. That's very sads. That's when you do this one. Does a Tomo. Okay. So always learning moments in these things, but sometimes, and probably in this case, cannot possibly be helped. Thank you everybody for joining in. I'm only 10 minutes late on this one. And other than not understanding Rule 914, I'm never going to forget that now. Luke Dawkin is going to hold that over my head for the rest of my life, I bet. Yeah, good times. And we have some busy times coming up on the international calendar. Everything is pending what is going to be broadcast, but we do have the Pan Am Games, and we've got African Olympic qualifiers coming up, and one other tournament in the Asian Federation. So it's nut bar after this week. Pan Am Games start on the 25th. So we will be back to having lots of live watch parties. Hopefully, if timing, I mean, timing is going to be great for me. Not going to be so great for everybody else in the world. But hopefully some other things that we can show. And you're very welcome. I'm glad it was good. There you go. How's the UK rule on crowding the umpire? Seems like a lot during this clip. Yeah, I mean, think about it this way, Tom. When you have had the ball hit you and go into the goal, you kind of feel like shit. So I think you're anxious to communicate with the players, and you're going to be a lot more generous in that situation than you would if you've just made, you know, your 99.5% of the time kind of decision. And I think also in that moment, he's being asked about other feet, but it's his foot. And there's going to be a lot of confusion about, you know, why and what are they yelling at, and nobody's understanding each other and all that kind of thing. So I see your point, but also we can recognize and empathize with everybody in this situation that it sucks. And he's probably not going to be very strict about that unless things really do cross over the lines. So there you go. Glad it helped. And gracias, Rodrigo. Mi nuevo amigo. And we will see you hopefully next week. Good to have you. And you respect me. I expect nothing. I expect nothing. There you go. Richard. Hey, no problem. That's why there's a replay squad. We love it. Okay, enjoy the rest of your hockey week and your hockey weekend coming up. For those of you in Europe, your seasons are going. Australia, you're entering indoor season, so we're going to start talking about indoor. Yay, indoor! Coming up very shortly. So thanks for joining in. See you next time.